Side of the Storm is brought to you by Revelton Distilling Company. You can visit them in Osceola, Iowa, or on the web at www.reveltondistillery.com.
And we live, Betfred Sportsbook, Brown Dogs Farm, Revelton Distillery.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Curvey, Marcus Pfizer, the real Marcus Pfizer, and Mr. 216, aka G Trice. You know I keep adding, changing my name up.
Always something.
Mr. 216, you know, because the game was in Miami, so I'm not Miami. You know, I'm Cleveland to the core.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing to say about that. Hold on, Brent trying to change his name. I see his eyes. He tried to check. Yeah, you just ain't got nothing to say.
Nah, I'm gonna let it ride. I'm not gonna change it today. Right. I'm gonna let you have it, man.
All right, for sure. Hey, we tried to, like I said, we told y'all we're gonna get like every 2 weeks. We're gonna try to get with y'all. And so we wanted to get with y'all this week. And on the back of my TV, I got the OU game on. So I'm watching this OU game, and they were down 1 against Florida State, but they just came back. Old girl hit a home run and brought one in. So these
softball, right?
Yeah, softball.
Yeah.
You know, this the World Series. These girls is doing their thing right now, man. Oh, and OU, man.
They going for a 3-peat, right?
Yeah. You know, Jen Runge and a lot of the girls from that group, they all went back for a game when OU was playing at Iowa State. And so they actually went to some of these games and saw them break history. So shouts out to them ladies out there doing that. Best of 3 and OU's up 1, so 1-0. So shouts out to them. But we got a special guest on here. I'm gonna call him in a minute. And we got Mr. Coach Mac, Mr. Dan McCarney, the man himself. He's gonna jump on with us from Florida. I'm gonna tell you the rundown. So the rundown is we're gonna talk about the updates from Big Play and Marcus on their kids and how they going with the scholar with the school, looking at the schools and looking at where they're going next. That's going to turn into the EA NCAA football game coming out and they're paying them about $500. We're going to talk about that. We ain't going to let that go by. And then we're going to talk to Mr. Dan Mack about what he got going on. So I'm going to call him in. But,
yes, sir.
While we calling him in, Big Play, I'm going to start with you. See what you're doing. I saw Reggie Hayward's son had on Alabama. He went to a camp at Alabama. So I see he's getting some looks out there. He got looks at Iowa State, looks at Alabama. So he's doing some things. I know you had UNI and that other team we won't name, that team out east, which we won't talk about. It's like in Michigan, they saw that team up. So during that game, they don't say nothing with an M. All the M's is crossed out in the streets in Columbus, Ohio during that week. You can't say an M. It's that team up north. So how's everything going with that?
That's cool, man. He had a camp. This is camp season for us right now. So we were in KU last week, just at Iowa State 2 nights ago. And then we'll be out east next week. And then we'll be moving around to Mizzou and K-State and possibly Wisconsin towards the end. So, just tapping in, man, right now. He's just kind of, trying to see if he can perform and going to, go to a couple of schools and let them see him move around live and see if we can get an offer out of the deal. So,
all right. So what is Malachi's nickname? What you Big Play? What he got going on? What they call him?
And he's got right now, because you know how high school kids are. He's Hollywood. They call him Hollywood. They call him D1. I don't know. My dream. I'm gonna tell you what my dream was. I had a plan. I was like, so when you're young, we're gonna call you. They'll call you Little Mac, and then you get to like middle school, they'll call you Big Mac. Then high school, it's a Mac Attack. So now we can see if we can't get us an NIL deal early. You know what I'm saying? You start taking pictures with these Big Macs. Like, yo, McDonald's, let me get one. You know what I'm saying? So, I tried to push it, but he ain't really falling for it. So,
he don't get the picture yet. He don't see it yet.
He don't see it yet.
So Mac D's, if you listening, we got the Mac Attack. We gonna post y'all with him eating Big Macs. We're gonna post ordering out the app so we get them points, because y'all got the app going on. 20% off if you spend over $5. I had to get my son a meal today, so I know that app very well. Oh yeah,
I just use the same app. I just use the same deal for London. She got to get her French fries. That French fries, and she calls Sprite juice pop, and every single day, like she would not let it go. So right before, like I got on, I told my wife, I said, man, I have to go get what she's asking for because she's not going to stop.
Yeah,
she's not going to stop. So I just used that code.
Y'all, you remember Brent? I don't know if they had it when you was in school, but the McDonald's up on Welch used to have the Cyclone fry, which was just a bag of fries. You can go in there and ask for a Cyclone fry, and it was just a bag of their fries, like a small bag of fries.
There was a McDonald's on Welch.
There was, yeah, oh yeah, there was a McDonald's on Welch, man.
Yeah, you got me.
Yep, McDonald's on Welch, man. That CVS was a bar.
Yep, I do remember.
Remember that? So that was People's, and then I think it changed to something else. They had that Kokos there, the Chinese food place we used to eat at on Thursdays after we came from the rec.
Yep.
Yeah, but no, there used to be a McDonald's right on Welch, man, right next to Pizza Pit.
What?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I still got a Pizza Pit now.
That's what. See, I went there last time I was in town.
That's what we need to get on for the sponsorship.
You know what? I'm gonna work. Hey, next week when I'm in town, I'm going to Pizza Pit. Pizza Pit, I'm coming for you. We need you as a sponsor. I'm coming to get wings. We're getting you. You know, throw me some wings out there. I'm gonna play this for you. So Mark, what's going on with Junior?
Well, Junior's, same process. He just finished up high school, so he's officially done. We're waiting to see what's going to happen these next couple of weeks. A lot of these schools are, trying to let this transfer portal close. And we understand this, what I call it, the free agency of the NCAA is definitely in full swing right now. So a lot of these schools are waiting, to see what these kids are going to do. That's already been in school. A lot of coaches that I've spoken to are actually trying and hoping that a couple guys even jump in the portal, but it hasn't happened yet. So once that closes up, things are going to ramp up for, a lot of the high school unsigned seniors. It's real tough for, those guys out here, the younger guys, because, when you have that portal out there and guys are able to transfer and they've been in school for a couple of years and, they've not only been proven, but they've been seen. So, they college coaches pretty much know what they can, build upon or what they're going to be getting. So, unfortunately, it's pushing, the unsigned seniors or the high school seniors back a little bit, but we're getting a lot of interest. A lot of schools he's gotten offers from. So right now he's just resting, laying around playing video games, but he's gonna, get back to training and stuff this week, and we see what happens.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. Well, I'm glad they're going through the process and it's going well for them. I've been seeing all these camps go around. Like I saw Omaha up there at the camp and everything like that at Iowa State. So these kids doing their thing. But while we doing this, we're gonna get Coach Mack on. We're gonna call him right now, see what he up to. We're gonna call him, let it go through. Hold on, it's not working. Hold on, Coach. Let me get this working. It always does this. Coach, can you hear us? All right. Hey, Ship. Let's put a post from Revelton up there while I get this technology working.
At Revelton Distilling Company, everyone has become a part of the Revelton family. From the Taylors and their daughter who helped perfect their award-winning gins, to the team who installed Lucy, our 33-foot-tall custom-made still, right down to the local farms that provide our coveted corn, and even the cows on those farms who consume our mash byproduct. Want to see the farm to flask come to life? Now you can tour Lucy and find out where we take Iowa's harvest and transform it into our finest spirits. Choose between a 45-minute tour or find out even more by scheduling a VIP behind-the-scenes tour to get the taste of the full Revelton experience. You can visit them at 1400 West Clay Street in Osceola, Iowa, or find all of Revelton's award-winning spirits at any local grocery or spirits retailer.
Thanks, Revelton, for your support. On the line, we got Coach Mack. What's going on, Coach?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Not bad.
There he is.
Marcus Senior and Big Play Curvey and George Trice. So since we don't got you on video, we have your picture up there. So we glad you could join us.
Yeah, it's an honor for me to be hanging with some Cyclone royalty tonight. How you doing, guys?
We're doing good, Coach.
Doing good.
Pleasure is definitely all ours.
100%.
I just hope, hope the ratings don't go down tonight because I'm on.
No.
We hope so too. No, everybody been waiting on this. We've been talking about this for a while, ever since the Hall of Fame game with Reggie. But you had that storm, so we couldn't get you on because y'all had some weather down there when we planned it the first time. So glad you can get on with us, Coach.
Yeah, great to be with you guys. Appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. So we were just talking. First off, we had to update on the kids. So Brent got his son Malachi, and then Marcus got his son Junior for basketball, and they're going through the process of getting to that next level, whether it's in high school and whether it's in college and whether it's after college. And so that's what they're working on right now to get to these next levels. And so we were talking about that. But before we get to that, how's Florida?
Fantastic. We've had a home down here for, I guess, 23 years. If you're in the state of Iowa and Wisconsin, which I was for half a century, you better damn have a freaking getaway, man. You go through those Midwest winters. So love it, enjoy it. The neat thing is I still get around and get to see a lot of former coaches, former players. Obviously love going back to the state of Iowa, but we really enjoy it. I tell you a quick story. There was 3 of us when we got through playing in Iowa, all had signed free agent contracts in the NFL. And I had a real good friend, an older guy that was a big fan of the Iowa. And he said, what are you guys going to be doing next few months? Well, we're just getting ready for mini camps. We had about 4 months. He said, well, I live in Sarasota, Florida. I'm a 9-iron from Lido Beach. You guys could come down and stay with me. There's a YMCA just a few minutes away from my house. You can work out there and come stay with me and help me with some house projects. What do you think about that? That took about 30 seconds to say yes to that. But back in the day, spring breaks in the 70s when we were in college, it was Fort Lauderdale, it was Daytona Beach. And we'd never been on the Gulf Coast. And then we came over and just fell in love with it and had a place here, as I said, for a long time. But really enjoy it, guys. Enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, I got to get down there. I've been down there a couple times, down in Miami, down to Melbourne. So I had a friend, a wedding out there. So, I like it, except for when it gets humid, because y'all are already too humid for me, Coach. I'm in Arizona.
Good, George, it's good for you to sweat a little bit, man.
I feel you. I can do it. But we throwing out accolades for Coach. 2004 Big 12 North co-champion, won the Independence Bowl in 2004, Coach of the Year in 2004, Coach of the Year in 2001, and then Coach of the Year runner-up in 2000. So your accolades precede you. We had Getty on here before, because I remember when I met you, Getty got me a workout plan. And I said, the hell with Getty. And, we had him on there. So we got to get y'all on here again. But, we welcome the legend here. And then the last time I saw you was at Reggie's Hall of Fame. So I don't know, Marcus, Brent, when was the last time y'all saw Coach?
I think I saw Coach Mack at, was it the Iowa Hall of Fame? No, well, I've probably seen you since then too. But at the Iowa Hall of Fame deal at UNI.
Okay.
I know it was a time, but Coach Mack is always back talking and stuff. So I try to make it a point to get back to at least hear that stuff. So,
nice.
I'd say there were some great things. There were some great times at Iowa State when I was there with Curveball and Marcus. Marcus, I remember it's been a phenomenal run you guys had in 2000. Yes, you were the Big 12 Player of the Year that year. And
that's what they say.
I couldn't wait to get to Hilton Coliseum when recruiting was over to come watch basketball, and the style of play and the way you guys played. And, it goes all the way back to Johnny Orr and the Hilton Magic. And a lot of people don't understand it. You do, Marcus, but Hilton Magic is, the fans are great. The students are phenomenal. The band is great. Hilton Magic started with the players and the style of play and how hard they played. And the relentless effort on the court and diving for balls and playing good defense and rebounding. And you were the epitome of that during your career and went on, I think, would you get 14, 15 years in the NBA? You just had a magnificent career. And but it was just so fun to experience all that. Of course, we won our first bowl game in 2000 in 100 years in Iowa State football. I think the same year that you had that incredible run. And just to share those things and then have those memories and those experiences is pretty cool, Marcus.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, a lot of people don't know my favorite sport is football. Always been football, and it is to this day. I fancied a lot of times, being out there on that football field. That football field in Iowa is a little bit different from where I came from in Louisiana, so it was kind of a hard decision to make. But I know me and Big Andy Stensrud came in together, and he was kind of half. He was going to play basketball and play football and both. And so, he decided to have that, great career in football and things like that. So I was always jealous behind that. And, the friendship me and Reggie and some other guys had on the football team. And like I said, being football being my favorite sport, I always still wanted to come out there. But, Eustacia was never trying to hear that for sure. He definitely knew my love for football. He used to always say, man, why are you hanging out at the football game around the football players and stuff like that? And then a couple summers, he had us working out with Coach Getty. So that was a different beast within itself. But definitely, appreciate everything that you did for the organization and for the school. I love seeing how everything turned around from, when Troy and Double D was there and how, we've always had to be that scrappy team, that scrappy school that nobody ever really gave any respect to. And so we took our respect. And as, guys start getting better and better, you start getting better players in and, things started to turn around for, the football team, the basketball team, and for the women's basketball team and all of the sports across the board. It's something special to be a part of, without a doubt.
It really was. And I would have loved it. I'm telling you, wouldn't it have been fun to see Brent Curvey and Marcus Spicer in the Big 12? Now, that would have been fun. I would have loved to coach that defense.
Worth the price of admission. That's a big play say, worth the price of admission.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about. But so that's what's up. But we as we've done this, we wrap up. We wrap up the season and during the summer kind of off and just talk about some things. And one thing I'd be remiss not to talk about right now is I want to shout out the homegirl, Lindsey Long. So I don't know, everybody knows Lindsey. She's basically crafted the Letters Winners organization within the athletics department. She has been single-handedly with her team, responsible for getting the Hall of Fames together, for getting the people together and to come back for events. And, she's done a great job. And now she's taking a director role with the foundation. So shouts out to her. She announced that online today, and I texted her congratulations a little earlier today. But we'll miss her in the athletic department. But with my work with the Trice Legacy Foundation, I'm always with the ISU Foundation too. So I'll still get to mess with her and bug her because I know she gets annoyed when I text her, Lindsey, I need this, Lindsey, I need that. But she always got it. She was always one to get it. So shouts out to you, Lindsey, and good luck with your next endeavor.
Absolutely.
George, I'm glad you brought that up. She's an incredible ambassador for Iowa State athletics, Iowa State University, but especially Iowa State athletics. I got to meet with her. Her soccer coach brought her to my office when she was being recruited at Iowa State. That's how far we go back. And then just the amazing career she's had and the contributions. And, a lot of people just don't understand the work that goes behind the scenes. I remember Gene Smith, who's the athletic director at Ohio State University, was the one that hired me at Iowa State.
Right.
I must be 3 days into the job, and I'm going 100 miles an hour and we could go over a winless program. And winless was just a record.
Right.
People don't understand behind the scenes how bad it was to be winless on a football field. It's really, really got to be bad behind the scenes. Good fans, but archaic fundraising, no facilities, no hope, no success, no winning. There have been 4 bowl games in 100 years. Johnny Majors got 2, Earl Bruce got 2, and they didn't win any of those 4. But along comes Lindsey Long in recent years. I remember when I was just go back to where I started. I asked Gene right away. I said, listen, I want to meet with the president of the Letter Winners Club. Who is it? He started laughing. I said, what's so funny? He said, we don't have one. I go, you're shitting me. You're not serious. He goes, yeah, we don't have one. I said, well, if there's no Letter Winners Club, there's probably no Hall of Fame. He goes, no. I said, so all these student athletes that have come through here, the halls of Iowa State for decades and decades and decades, the great ones, we haven't honored them. There's no Hall of Fame. No, there was no Hall of Fame. So it just put into perspective how far we needed to come and the things that needed to be put in place in the foundation just to give us a chance to be competitive. And then fortunately years ago, George, as you mentioned, Lindsay got hired, came in, took fundraising in the athletic department through student athletes and through the reunions. Just took it to a different level. She made all of us and every one of us feel real welcome. And Curveball probably knows this as well as me, as well as I do, and many people. For some time after I was gone, I was long gone after my 12 years at Iowa State, none of us felt real welcome at Iowa State, players and coaches alike. Okay, so this isn't time for BS and hope some of it sticks. This is real deal we're talking about. None of us felt welcome. Lindsay did such a great job. And then Matt Campbell came in. He called me the first night that he was hired. They've embraced us. They brought us back. We feel connected. We feel loyal. We love the place. And but Lindsay has just been an unbelievable trailblazer through all of that to get this thing up and running. The good news is, even though she's leaving, she's still going to be at Iowa State, as you mentioned, George. And then the other thing is Mike Green's going to take her spot, who's another real loyal Cyclone that's given a lot to that place. And it'll be, I think, an easy transition from Lindsay to Mike. But she's really special. She called me last night. She wanted me to know about it before it was announced today. We had a good talk. But I just wanted her to know in some small way how much she's meant to all of us.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, and he's been following her around and trying to learn that he's going to be overwhelmed. I've seen we and him talk a couple times, but that job is not for the faint of heart. That is a hard job. And I'm happy that, he's been looking and learning from her, and he has a good team out there. So, but we did I had a couple questions out here. Before we get to this first question on here, I want to ask you, what was it like playing the 97 season when they renamed it Jack Trice Stadium? And the reason why I want to ask that is because it's the 100-year anniversary of Jack's death, and we're doing a lot of things with the 100th anniversary. We have a sold-out golf event next Friday that I'm doing out there in Ames, and 36 teams. We have a lot of people coming out there to support. But what was it like that first year after all the things, getting the statue, the students fighting, Jack Trice Field, playing on that for a few years, and then for the change to come? How was it playing in that 97 season?
Well, I mean, the season itself didn't end up the way that we wanted it to. 95, 96, Troy Davis brought some respect and some honor and some notoriety and some amazing attention back to Iowa State football that had been missing for decades. Now, we didn't get to bowl game, we didn't get to our winning season, but he went 2 years in a row over 2,000 yards. No back had done it in 100 years up to 1995 and 96. No back has done it since then. And it wasn't like we were out there doing against these junior college teams. It was against top 10, top 15, top 20 teams and defenses. So that was amazing. Double D had to take over after Troy took off and went to the New Orleans Saints. And we're still doing some positive things, George, but still not getting to that winning season yet. We hadn't beaten Iowa. Iowa, 15 wins in a row, complete domination, humiliating losses, embarrassing losses. But along the way, thank God, they had hired Gene Smith as the athletic director to try and revive and revamp and rebuild an athletic department that had some really quality coaches and players in all sports through the years, but it never had any sustained success, especially in football. And when he came to my office to talk about it, George, it's like, why in the hell didn't this thing go on? Why wasn't this stuff? Why didn't this come up decades ago? Honestly, why wouldn't we honor Jack Trice a long time ago? But fortunately, we were there in the transition and in honoring one that should so unbelievably be honored. I remember when Gene came to me first, when we started talking about it, and he said, "What do you think?" I said, "This," because I read about it and I heard about it, the whole story of Jack Trice. I said, it seems like a no-brainer. Like,
right.
The only question I had was why the hell it wasn't done a long time ago.
Right.
And it was honored. And then we did get a statue. And Iowa State, through the years, it's an incredible place, as all four of us know. Phenomenal place. But through the years, they've been kind of slow to get things done. When I took the job at Iowa State, they really hadn't brought back the best wrestler in the history of Iowa State wrestling.
Yes, sir.
And in college wrestling, in Dan Gable. Well, I wrestled at Iowa my freshman year for him. He got me out my freshman year. We had a great friendship and relationship ever since then at all years at Iowa. I ended up working with Hayden Fry for 11 years. One of the first things I did when I got to Iowa State was bring Dan Gable back. Let's honor the best of the best. So I didn't mean to get off on a tangent there, but to me, that was just so important. It was something that should have been done a long time ago, and it's just cool to see. And I still think today, George, you know better than I do. You study that stuff. It may still be the only stadium in the country named after an African-American, a black former player in college football.
144 Division I schools, and it's the only one. You know,
unbelievable.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
And it's funny. So this morning I tweeted because they're looking at renaming the Vet Med building to Frederick Douglass building, and I was making a joke. I'm like, man, Iowa State's trying to corner the market on naming buildings after black people, and it was funny because we've had a lot of successful George Washington Carver, Frederick Douglass, Jack Trice, David Carr. Like you look at some of these people in different sports and things like that, Marcus Pfizer, Jamal, people that have gone on and do different things. And I'd be remiss if we didn't name some of those people, Reggie, and the things that they're doing to come back and to give back to the way they have to Iowa State. And you hit on a good point about bringing people back. It's about that the song starts "Loyal Sons Forever True," but they weren't honoring by bringing people back, and it took a long time. And I just text Lindsay. She's probably out with her family celebrating, so she ain't gonna jump on the podcast with us. But it took some time. And as you said, I talked to Gene Smith still when I was in Ohio. I went to a couple Ohio State games, and I went to the Ohio State Penn State game in Penn State last year, and Gene got us on the list. And so I still talk to Gene. Gene's been a good guy because he was instrumental in getting me to Iowa State. And so then he was out here at ASU for a couple years and then back in Ohio. So he was a good dude and started getting some momentum. And Jamie has done a good job of even taking it further to get recognition, because it's like when LeBron was in Cleveland and they were like, well, why wouldn't he go to Miami? It's just, what's in Iowa. I talked to somebody today and they had all 4 seasons today. I think they had a little bit of sleep, up at Iowa State. So, why would you want to go somewhere like that? But we've had people come through there, some greats that have come through there, and then getting the recognition for them is their just due. So glad you brought that up.
No question. It all started with what you said about Lindsay and the job she did, George. And it was easy for me when I took the job, and then I'll shut up. But it was easy for me when I took the job. I'd been on the other end of a lot of those big, huge wins when I was at Iowa, coaching against Iowa State. I was up at Wisconsin when we went from 1-10 to 10-1 and won the first Rose Bowl in 100 years. Then I got the chance to come be in charge of a phenomenal university that had really a poor history with college football for many, many years. And it was just easy for me to come in and go, okay, we got nowhere to go but up. Before we start earning respect and honor and getting people to respect us, we got to stop the laughing, because that's all they've been doing around this place for years and years and years. They just laughed. They didn't laugh at Marcus Pfizer in basketball, but they didn't laugh at Johnny Orr. They didn't laugh at Tim Floyd. They didn't laugh at Larry Stacey. They didn't laugh at Greg McDermott. They didn't laugh at Tim. They didn't laugh at Fred Hoiberg. They're sure not laughing at TJ right now, one of my great friends in life. But they laughed at Iowa State football for a long time. So, so Curveball knows this firsthand. It was in our DNA. All right. We're just going to have a chip on our shoulder. We're going to fight for our brothers. We're not going to make any excuses. And someday we'll make history. And Curveball did such a great job of bringing that all the time and bring something. I wanted America to respect us, stop the laughing, stop the nonsense. And so that when they hear about Iowa State football or watch it, there's something positive there, and they respect us. And not just because I'm on a show with Curveball right now, but he was one of those guys that he took that thing and ran with it, man, and was such a phenomenal contributor to doing something positive that you can look back on for many, many years. And here you got 2 of the great ones ever to play at Iowa State, and Marcus and Curveball, and now their sons are on the way, and they're coming up, and now they're hopefully going to get recruited, and love to see them back in the Cardinal Gold of Iowa State. And it's just fun to see through the years, but always to go back, because those moments you don't get them back, and you get one shot, and you're coming out of high school, and it seems like maybe it's going to be a long time before you get to college, and it's done, and it's like, where the hell did those years come?
Yeah.
And while you're there, leave a mark, leave a legacy, and the guys that are on the show with me tonight sure did that.
Yeah, and for me, Coach, like you said, there was a lot of laughter. There was a lot of people chuckling about Iowa State football, and I was there watching those games in the snow. I remember, the Nebraska teams. A lot of people don't remember how good Nebraska and K-State used to be, in the Big 12. And I was there watching those games, and I knew, before long, with your coaching and the way, a lot of my friends that were on the football team, we stayed in the same dorm and stuff, and I knew how tough the guys were and how passionate they were about playing the sport. And I said, this thing is going to turn around. It's not going to be overnight, but it's going to turn around before long. And like now to see, in the last 10 to 15 years, how respectable the program is and winning games and things like that, winning bowl game. Like we automatically, we almost expect to go to a bowl game rather than the fact of, hoping, we're going to go to a bowl game. So, I definitely appreciate that. I love being a part, of the Iowa State culture, everything that everyone has built, since before and since I've been there. And I love wearing my paraphernalia and everything around and during the football season and the NCAA football season. I love how, people come up and say, you guys have really turned everything around and gained a lot of respect in the Big 12. And I said, you see it, we all see it, and we expect to keep winning big ball games.
That's what's up. So as we talk about that, Jeff Waters asked a question, and it's how big was the win over Iowa 98? Coach, you talked about 15 years. But before we get to that, you know how they do it in the TV shows. They always go to commercial break. We're going to go to a commercial break real quick while you think about ponder, how big that win was and what the emotion you were feeling. So, Ship, roll that footage for Brown Dog Farms.
Brown Dogs Farm are Norwalk, Iowa-made hot sauces and dressings. Brown Dogs Farm was born out of the dream to emulate the simple life of Rob's grandparents, who inspired him with their hard work and abundant gardens. Rob and Amanda set out to create a unique blend of fruit and pepper that would satisfy the part of the brain that craves great flavor without sacrificing the spice of the peppers. Sweet, but still packing heat. With combinations like jalapeno green apple, habanero peach, cherry rhubarb reaper, and other great flavor combinations, there is a spice and flavor that is right for any party or get-together. BDF also has homemade versions of their classic and spicy ranch that are one of a kind. You can order all of those and more online at www.browndogsfarm.com and ask your local grocery to stock up.
That's what's up. So, Ship, I hope you're still not out there running through a brick wall. I see you back there, but hope you survived that. But yeah, thanks for that commercial break from Brown Dogs Farms. I got to go pick some up when I get back to Iowa next week.
I have to say I've been a little daring. I've been putting a couple drops onto my food of the the rhubarb and the cherry, just a little bit, just a couple drops. So we're not gonna get too crazy.
Marcus don't like heat, and so one of our sponsors, Brown Dog Farm, has some hot sauces. They sent us a sample pack. So he's been talking about doing the ranch, but he ain't touched the hot sauces, Coach.
Hey, baby steps. 1 to 2 drops. 1 to 2. If it hit 3 drops, we might have gone too far.
I put hot sauce on my cereal. That's how much I love it.
I tell these guys above ketchup level, then you've lost me.
Oh man. So, Coach, how big was that win 98 over Iowa after losing 15 years and you coming in and getting that win? What did it feel like?
George, it was amazing. And I got a call from Mike Green, who's taking Lindsey Long's spot about 5 days ago, and it's going to be the 25-year reunion. It's going to be a 25-year anniversary of that victory. That you start talking about, you start thinking, that kind of puts it in perspective. I'm getting to be an old bastard.
Yeah.
25 years. It was a lot more than a win. It was a lot more than a football game, George. Yeah. That's what it was. It was a lot more than that. The people that weren't there may not understand it. The young people today don't understand it because nowadays it's just Iowa wins all the time. Iowa State wins. They go boom, 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 boom. No, it wasn't that way. It was complete domination by Iowa for all those years. The year before that, we got it done in 1998 when we were a 29.5-point underdog and we won 27-9. They came into Ames, and Coach Fry had a hell of a team. They threw for a touchdown pass to Tim Dwight with about 4 or 5 minutes to go in the game. to put up over 60 points on us that day. It was one of the most embarrassing losses I'd ever been a part of. But are you going to sit around and cry? Or are you going to try and do something about it? Are you going to bow your neck? Or are you going to try and improve your recruiting, improve your development, improve your coaching, and give yourself a chance to stop the nonsense of 15 years of getting embarrassed by one school? So those guys drew a line in the sand. Sooner or later, it's got to be done. Where you just bow your neck, you draw a line in the sand, you plant your feet, you take a stand, you say no more, enough. We're not going to get our ass embarrassed today. We're going to turn this whole thing around and change it. And I remember that week, George, it was an amazing, we'd gotten beat by TCU the week before, but it was an amazing feeling of confidence in preparation for that game, going to Iowa City, almost a 30-point underdog, as I mentioned, but the preparation by the coaches and the players was amazing. We felt real confident we could run the ball. Double D end up running for 246 yards. We felt really good we could dominate the kicking game. We end up blocking a kick and forcing a forced fumble on a punt return by their guy. It was just one of those days that all came together, but there was no fluke. We didn't trick them. It was complete domination. And then we went on to win 6 of the next 9 against Iowa, twice when they were in the top 10. The one year in 2002, they ended up going undefeated. And I got a lot of my Iowa teammates that I played with, a lot of former Iowa players that say, Mac, you cost us a shot at the national championship. Well, I really feel bad about that. I really feel bad about that. We were down 24-7 at halftime, and Seneca and the defense led us back. And it's one of the great comebacks in the history of Iowa State football to win a huge game. But it was part of that new tradition and that new legacy and that new rivalry. Because when you get your ass kicked 15 years in a row, let me tell you something. Let me in on a secret. There is no rivalry. You got to start winning. Yeah. And we were able to do that. So it was just so meaningful. I'll share one more thing and then I'll be quiet. But Mark Cortez was a phenomenal young man from Chicago. We'd recruited in our first class. Great young man. Loved him. Hard-nosed, tough. He just didn't have much luck when it came to injury. Shoulder surgery on the other shoulder, knee surgery on one knee surgery on the other one. And the week of the Iowa game, he decided with the doctors that he'd have to end his career. He ended up writing one of the most meaningful messages that I've ever heard or listened to or read in my life. Joe Parmentier, our fullback, came in and read it to me from Mark Cortez. And when we got to Iowa City, he said, "What do you want to do, Coach?" I said, "I want you to read it to the team." And that night, Friday night, he read it to the team. And Mark was just talking about how much he would love to be with us. He can. His career's over. But you can fight, you can scratch, and you can claw, and you can go execute the game plan. And there's going to be some really positive things. And we all know this, guys. Difficult things, the things that are really special, they're always going to be difficult. They're going to be hard. It's easy to be half-assed. It's easy to be average. It's hard to be elite. It's hard to stop negative things. But that team did it, and that message that Mark Cortez sent to us really meant a lot. And in all honesty, when I said it's more than just a win in a game, guys, it was a lot more than that. To just change the whole mindset and the confidence of the Iowa State athletic department and their fan base that we can go toe-to-toe. Even though for years, guys, there were facilities, no contest. Iowa in a different league than Iowa State. The money, the donors, the big donors, all of that stuff, the success, the winning, all that was at a different level than Iowa State. Fortunately, nowadays, that isn't the case. Mm-hmm. And I've been to both schools. I've been through all their facilities. Those days are gone. But when we started out and when we won that game in 98, George, facility-wise and money-wise and support-wise and all that stuff, it was a different world from Iowa to Iowa State. But thank God we got it turned around. And those players and those assistant coaches are the ones that deserve the credit.
Yeah, that was my freshman year. So, yeah, I remember that very well. Wow. Yeah, you talked about, some good thing. Somebody said Seneca was in. Yeah, David, he was there. He was the man. So, so you talk about, the being at both sides at Iowa and Iowa State. You talk about, Mark, you talk about how good Nebraska was and K-State was. You talk about now this year we're playing BYU. We're playing Cincinnati. We're adding these 4 teams to the conference. So it's going to be a different ball game. I got a homeboy that played at Cincinnati. BYU's right out here by me. I'm hopefully going to try to make it to that game this year. But, what do we, in your mind, Coach, what do we need to do this season to be dominant in this conference? I mean, TCU made it to the national championship, and we played them on the Jack Trice 100 game in October. But looking at our conference, looking at the new things, what do we need to focus on as you've looked at Iowa State football in the past few years? What do we need to focus on in this upcoming season?
Well, the good news is
loaded question.
Yeah, no, George, that's good. It's a real good question. The good news is we got a phenomenal, one of the top head coaches in all of college football, in Matt Campbell.
Yes,
and we came up, short in so many games last year. There weren't blowouts until the TCU game. There were no blowouts. There were no mismatches. We didn't have the consistency on offense. I didn't think we didn't have the consistency with our special teams. We did with our defense. Our defense gave us a chance to be bowl eligible and to win games and to make a run at a possible championship. But we just didn't have the pieces in place elsewhere. One of the first things Matt did after the and got into big bowl games and got into the Big 12 championship game, he had to let a couple coaches go. But in the end, you end up having to make all the hard decisions and the tough decisions as a head coach. It's not a popularity contest, and it's not putting your finger up to the wind and going, okay, which way is it blowing today? And that's the decision that I'll make today. You have to be strong in your beliefs, in your morals, in your gut, in your heart, in your soul on what's best for the program, not what's best for me, not what's best for any one coach, what's best for the big picture in the program, our players, our coaches, so that we can put a team out there that everybody can be really proud of. So the good news is Matt's coming back. He made some adjustments. I know sounds like they feel really, really good about that. I was invited to go back and speak at the Iowa High School Coaches Clinic back in February, and Matt and all of his staff was there. Kirk Ferentz and all of his staff was there. Mark Farley and all the Northern Iowa staff was there. 1,600 coaches. It was an honor for me to go back. And one of the real cool things, there's 23 of my former players at Iowa State that are now in a coaching profession. Now, it might be part-time or full-time, including Curveball, who's done a great job helping young men. It's just so cool to see these guys give back to the game that was so good to them. It really is. When the older you get and you kind of get away from it, get a little space and look back and see that. It's really cool. But I just think we have a phenomenal defensive package and a defensive staff. They're all back. They're intact. The adjustments that Matt made on offense, I think, were very necessary. I think he made some great hires. Everything I'm hearing, it's really helped. It's been very positive. The offensive promotion that he made from within. Matt Campbell told me the first year when he hired his offensive coordinator that was the wide receiver / running back coach, he's going to be a head coach someday, Matt. Now he's got the offense in charge of half of the football team. And then I know we've got the transfer kicker. Our special teams have been a little hot and cold, kind of up and down. We get some more consistency there. Matt's already proven that we can line up and we can coach and play with the best in college football. Now it's a matter of going and doing it and getting in those games. We're going to be a lot of close games, guys. Who are we kidding? There's going to be a lot more close games again this year like there were last year. But when it comes down to it, is all you guys know, who has the talent, who has the toughness, who has the grit, who has the ability in all those close games to make that game-winning play, make that fourth quarter play, make that goal line stand, get that fourth down conversion, make that play when it's 3rd and 17 and you go, no, there's really not much of a chance. And yeah, you go make that conversion. You get into overtime, whatever it is, just to make those plays to win. But I just feel very, very positive about the future. If Matt needed to beat Iowa, he hadn't done that yet in a number of years. Finally got it done in Iowa City. It's hard to do, as we all know. It's hard to beat Iowa. Got that done. Iowa will have a phenomenal defense again this year. Really, really good special teams. But they've been in the bottom 10 on offense the last 4 years. So they're coming to Ames. It'd be fun to see that game and see them match up. But I just have really great hope, and it goes right back to really knowing Matt Campbell, being around him, watching him in meetings, watching him. He's brought me back a number of times to be around the team. And this championship teams, they're really good teams. And Marcus knows this. Curveball knows this. George, the great teams, there just has to be this incredible loyalty. It's unconditional. It's unconventional. You got to build it. You got to sustain it. And then you got to showcase it over and over. And unfortunately, it's a dying trait around our country, a lot in families, in businesses, in athletic teams. But under the leadership of Matt Campbell, I don't see that at all. I see a phenomenal loyalty that's there. And with the facilities, you guys have all seen it. It's a different world now in Iowa State athletics because of the generosity of the fans and the organizational fundraising they have at Iowa State now. It's a whole new atmosphere there. And I'm hoping we can just keep building on the success of the past, and especially going back many years where guys that really had to change the whole atmosphere and the whole culture and the whole future of Iowa State football. And Curveball was one of those guys. It's just fun to go back and see success, and I know we're going to see a lot of that this fall.
Yep, and you talked about 23 of your former athletes coaching. Well, Reggie's coaching this year up in Jacksonville. He's coaching his son's high school team. So
yeah, Coach Hayward.
Yep.
How about that one, Coach Hayward? Marcus?
That's kind of weird. That's kind of weird when you think about it. But he gonna be doing that. And then Harold Flynn said, "Hey, come up. Austin's gonna be coaching up in Deer Park." So he said, "Come on down to Deer Park and see Austin coach."
Oh, I'd love to see it, man. That's one of those great stories of an unselfish player, and Curveball understands it. When a guy, his whole dream was to be a quarterback, that's what he had done. He had set records. He was a leader, amazing. And we just felt like, listen, this is what's best for our football team. And I didn't know if he was going to throw something at me when I said, listen, my thought is this, to move you to wide receiver. I think you can be an all Big 12 wide receiver because of your competitive desire and your talent. But what's best for our team is for you to do that. And I didn't know what was going to happen. I don't know if he's going to quit. I don't know if he was going to swear at me. I don't know if he's going to throw something at me. And he said, Coach Mack, whatever's best for the team. It was like, you got to be kidding me. This is what it's all about. This is one of the great things I heard decades and decades ago, and I shared it with many of my teams, is forget yourself for others so that others will never forget you. And that was one of the classic examples of unselfishness and doing what's best for the team. And by the way, he ended up being a second team all Big 12 wide receiver. And when we beat Iowa that year in 2005, and they came in and they were ranked in the top 10 in the country, he's out there wide receiver making a whole bunch of plays. Like Curveball was, like, it was just so much fun to see him flourish after making the sacrifice that he did to go play wide receiver.
Yeah, you got to do what's best for the team, and sometimes it does take that. And if you want to succeed as an individual, you have to play your part. You have to play to your strengths, and that's really what it is. And it's finding, and that's the thing about coaching, and it's about finding those things within that person. No matter what they came up playing all through their career, if you see something different in them that they can improve on, that's what your job is to do. And you did a great job of that, of finding the strengths in the people and trying to bring them out. Because again, everybody's not gonna make it to the next level. Everybody's not going to finish a season. They might get hurt, or they might quit. They might just think it's too hard. But you found a way to bring out that best in those people to get their all. And that's what it's about, getting their all and letting them believe in it, making them believe in it, and making them feel that they were a part. So, shouts out to you for that in all your career. So we appreciate you for that.
Thanks, George. Yeah, the world's, you guys know, the world's full of unsuccessful people that have talent, but they just don't have the consistency. You guys all have that. That's why you're real successful in athletics. You're real successful in life. But guys like you mentioned with Austin Flynn, just that phenomenal persistence and that consistency every day. And as you go through athletics, and you can carry that over to life, obviously. But every new season, there's a big difference between a team and a group of people. There's groups of people all over the damn place. Mm-hmm. Right. But are they a team? The chemistry, the bond, the belief, the loyalty, the passion, that amazing relationships that you built, then if you have that, you build a family, you build the chemistry, you build the togetherness, and then really magic can happen. And I saw it through my career. I was a part of a winless season. I was a part of a national championship. I was a part of 21 bowl games. I was a part of 4 just dramatic turnarounds. Iowa hadn't won for 21 years. Wisconsin hadn't won a Rose Bowl in 100. Iowa State had never won a bowl game in 100 years and hadn't been to a bowl game in decades. South Florida, we went to number 2 in the country and lost our bowl game, but we still won 9 and had a hell of a run. Got to go to Florida. Now, that was a great situation, but they had just given up 600 yards to Michigan in the bowl game, Urban Meyer had a red ass, and he wasn't messing around at all with defense. We had to get that thing back on track, and then we went 30-2 my first 32 games in Florida. Then because of the success of Florida, then I got one more shot to be a head coach at North Texas. They were in the bottom 10. We took them to 9 wins. We had a 3-point game with Georgia starting the fourth quarter down there between the hedges. So you get to do these things, and it comes from something I experienced, not that I read, not that I heard about. I got to experience it. But then when you go back and the guys that I'm on with right now, you think about Brent Kirby and how much he meant to Iowa State football. You think of Marcus Fires and how much he meant to Iowa State basketball, and the years pass and the decades pass and all these years. And here these guys hopefully going to have their sons being recruited. But each new season, as these guys know, you get to define how you want to be remembered. And no matter how much you think your individual stuff matters, and that's great, the great teams, the winning teams, the real successful teams are the ones that are long remembered. And that's why Brent Kirby and Marcus Fizer are going to be remembered for a long time, for generations, for what they gave to Iowa State and the success those teams they had that they were a part of.
Yeah, thanks, Coach. I can remember after my freshman year when Tim Floyd left for the Bulls, and Larry Sachet was going to be introduced as the new head coach, and we were over at the Jake and had the whole press conference and everything, introducing them and everything, and the reporters were around, and everybody's had just this look on their face, and so after he's introduced and they he spoke, and some of the players we spoke or whatever, and then of course the reporters came up to me and they was like, everyone's up in arms wondering, are you going to transfer? I'm like, that's why y'all looking like that? It's like, man, I ain't going nowhere. Like that never even crossed my mind. I understand, Tim Floyd was moving on to a better situation, but we got a guy that's coming in that's, renowned as just as good as Tim Floyd, and we're gonna keep going with this thing. And like, it never crossed my mind that I said, listen, I came here to play for Tim Floyd. Once he moved on, I also signed a contract to play basketball at Iowa State University. And until my time here is done, that's what I'm here to do. And so, like, everybody had this sense of relief. And I was like, that's why y'all had this look in y'all face like y'all thought I was going to transfer? That never crossed my mind. I wanted to be a part of something, that was going to be, of course, you never can foresee what we're going to be or what's going to happen. And we never, we only hope for the season that we had or the basketball seasons that we've since then, but you never know. But you just know the dynamic of how special that place is, Hilton Magic, and how the fans are, over at Jack Trice Stadium and watching the football games. You can't, you can't make that up. You can't write that type of scripts, once you have experienced things like that. And for me, to be a part of that, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's so cool. And just that the time passes and the years go, and just to still have those feelings and that love and that respect for that school, like I know you guys have, it's pretty cool. I mean, it really is, Marcus. Elite teams that I've been around, they just reek of character. And guys come from all different backgrounds and all different cities and all different towns and all different schools and all different home situations and all that. But
right.
If you bring a whole group of guys together where it just permeates everywhere, that character, it's amazing. And people say, what really is character? To me, it's just accumulation of your thoughts and your choices and your everyday actions. I'll give you this, just a comparison, just a story that I experienced. I ended up, because of the success that we had in South Florida, we went to number 2 in the country, and I had a kid named George Selby that was unanimous All-American, phenomenal player, curveball. I mean, just incredible. He led the nation in sacks and tackles for losses. Just such an honor and a joy to coach him. That's one of the reasons Urban called me and said, I need you to be my defensive line coach. Long story short, we got a lot of good players. We're going to be playing an unbelievable schedule. We for sure that we had 2 guys on the same team that really had amazing talent, college talent. One was Tim Tebow, and the other one was Aaron Hernandez. And both of them really amazing, talented guys. Tebow, one of the great leaders I'd ever been around. It didn't work out as good as he wanted, obviously in the NFL, but in college, 2 national championships, win a Heisman, pretty good resume, pretty good experience. I was with him in the trenches when we went 30-2 and got to hold that crystal ball as a national champion. Amazing guy.
Right.
But he always hung with the right people. He always had good friends, amazing character. Just talked to him 3 days ago. And then Aaron Hernandez, a lot of people don't know this from the outside. Our players and our family, our kids and our families, we're around the players all the time. We had a thing on Thursday nights called a family night. Urban brought in our family to eat dinner with the players before they left after practice to go do their academic stuff or go do what they needed to on Thursday night. And then he wanted the players' families to ride the kids to be on the buses with players after the games, away games, because we got to go to games and go to bowl games and go to national championship. Aaron Hernandez is one of the most popular players with all the coaches' families and their kids ever. He was just, the personality was amazing and fun. And the only thing we ever worried about, and the coaches that coached him and recruited him out of Connecticut, they were afraid he'd smoke dope and go back home on spring break or summertime and go smoke dope. They didn't worry about all that other crazy stuff. And here's a young man, and we all know the story. He signed a contract between $40 and $50 million. He's got the best coach in my lifetime coaching him in the history of the NFL, Bill Belichick. He's got the best quarterback in the history of the game, throwing him passes. He's got a gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, beautiful wife-to-be, fiance, and this beautiful child, but doing the stupid stuff, hanging with guys that have nothing to lose when he's got everything to lose. And obviously he had some character flaws that developed over time when his dad died. But just to see the comparison and the examples, and I'm sitting here on a show with three guys that just reek of character. The depth of your character is phenomenal, all three of you guys, and as it was with Tebow. But a guy like Hernandez, who had this amazing talent, and yet he hung with the wrong people. He had character flaws, and you see, as all the nation watched and followed and saw what happened, ends up himself and throws it all away. It's just amazing, but it just accentuated because I was there and I was a part of it and I saw it and I witnessed it and I felt so horrible as that all transpired when things started going downhill with the Patriots, how important character is, as it has been with you guys.
Yeah. You bring up, you talk about Herb and Above the Line, his book, and you talk about being out there and doing your job and doing what you're supposed to do. And he has something in his book, 4 to 6 A to B. The average football play goes 4 to 6 seconds, and you go from point A to point B. That's what you got to keep in your mind. It's not about what's going to happen at the end of the time of the game or at halftime. It's about 4 to 6 A to B, and getting that in your mind and like do what you can do in your best for those 4 to 6 seconds to get from point A to point B. And I took that from his book. I read his book and met with him when he was down at Ohio State a couple times when I lived in Columbus. So shouts out to him as well. So we got two. Oh, go ahead, Coach.
No, I won't go on, but I'd never heard it said like that, played like that, accentuated like that until I was hired by Urban. And then he grabbed Margie and I the second day that I was on the job, and he just said, I need 3 years of the 3 best years of your career. I know you've had a hell of a career, Mac, and I need your 3 best years you've ever had. We got to get back to winning national championships. We got to get back to winning SEC championships. And I need you. I need your best. And I never, ever, ever for 1 second gave him anything but my best. But that was the first time when we got into our first defensive meeting, that was up on the wall. And we've all coached defense. I was a defensive coordinator, defensive line coach for half of my career. Loved it. That's why I have such admiration for Curveball and the way that he played the game. But I'd never heard it 4 to 6 seconds. We had that up everywhere. And the other thing we had up everywhere was the video of Georgia scoring the touchdown, and the whole team went to the end zone that season before I got there. And all celebrated, and they all got penalized, and then they end up kicking Florida's tail between their shoulder legs. And so every video we saw for the next 9 months or 8 months was all over that complex. And my first game, the biggest outdoor cocktail party in the country, they call it Florida, Georgia, in Jacksonville, Florida. We took some of the great players in the history of the game, Bradford and all those guys, and spanked them. I mean, we spanked them. I think we beat them by 35 points. It was a huge win for the Gators, but it was the 4 to 6 seconds that we built, especially with our defense. That was, you stop and think about it, that's not very long. We're just asking you for 4 to 6 seconds. Give us all.
Yeah. That's a long concentration for some.
Yeah,
it is. It is.
And so as we we're not gonna keep you too long. We know it's later over there on the East Coast, but Justin had one comment. He said he loved watching Brent and Marcus play. So shouts out to y'all from Justin.
Appreciate it, Justin.
But he also asked about the bowl win in 2000. So what was your most shining moment? Which one meant more to you? The 98 win against Iowa or the 2000 bowl win?
Yeah, I mean, a great question. I honestly, I couldn't separate it. There's so many when things had been so bad. I mean, it's not to pat anybody on the back. This is just the way it was. This is history. This is real life. When things are so bad for so long, it's just there was a study done that somebody had told me about not long ago. It's just thousands of people were near death, and what was their number one regret? A lot of people ask, "What's your number one regret?" Well, they wish that they had the courage. A lot of them, most of them, said to live a life that were true to themselves, not the life others expected of them. If we sat around at Iowa State and just worried about the past, or that's going to limit me, or we can't do it because it hasn't been done before, there's no chance that we'd have got those things done when it hadn't been done for so long, or forever had never been done. And that's why I just feel so good about my players and staff that gave so much at Iowa State, to give them a chance these days now to challenge for everything and anything that's out there for the Big 12 and for college football, because of what they did and the amazing contributions that were made. And we all want to be remembered in a positive way, but those teams and the amazing history-making victories in 98 over Iowa, in 2000, the first bowl win in 100 years, beating Nebraska, curveballs, they just used to abuse, embarrass, humiliate Iowa State, to take them behind the woodshed 36-14 in Jack Trice Stadium. The great win down at Texas A&M when we were huge underdogs, and to see that stadium emptying at the end of the third quarter, and we end up beating them by 30-some points. Just those unbelievable great memories to do those things. My last game, Missouri was a hell of a football team. They were going to a bowl game, and I was leaving Ames. And there was just something special about that last game, and those team and those players and those coaches that said, we're going out as winners. We're gonna make sure we're gonna finish this year on a positive note. Those things will always be real positive, but it's hard to really, just to answer your question, it's hard to pick one out. I just have such admiration and respect and love for the people that gave me the opportunity to come to Iowa State and be a part of that. And then the coaches and the players, when things weren't very positive for so long, to take a chance, to come be with us, to say, listen, let's be part of something that maybe hasn't ever been done, or maybe hadn't been done for a long time. Those things were really amazing. And we're all defined by our own moments in time. I know this much. Any of those players or coaches that ever with me those 12 years, they should be really proud as they go on in their lives, and their kids and their grandkids should be really proud of what they did, because they all made some amazing, incredible contributions to something real special.
Yep, no doubt.
I'm gonna tell you, man, I got a real quick very, very, very fond memory. 2004 season, Coach Mack came in with an acronym, and it was UTMATIA. It was a bunch, it was like OOT, and it was crazy. So everybody was like, what the fuck? What is this? Only Coach Mack would create something like this. One of the most improved teams in America is what it ended up being. So obviously we went 2-10, I think, my freshman year, 2003, and then 2004, that's when we ended up winning the Independence Bowl. So, he's touched on all of these special teams and, the bonds and the moments and things like that. But, it starts from the head, man. So, getting a message like that to start your season, I think we got that in the off season, if I'm not mistaken. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, but maybe summertime, I think that was kind of the message. Like, the idea was.
Yeah, it was curveball. I really appreciate you bringing it up. I got to be honest with you. I was sitting on my deck out there on the edge of town out there, and I was having a little Grey Goose on the rock. Not myself. Nobody else was around. Nobody else around. And I said, I'm going to come up with something. These guys deserve it.
Yeah,
we got something special about to happen. And I came up with that. I gave it to Margaret and I threw it at her. And I said, what do you think? And she says, you know more about that than I do, but it sounds good. Team, and we got T-shirts made. And there was only 2 teams because Curveball and all those guys bought into it. There was only 2 teams in the country that had more improvement from the season before to that season that year. Only 2. One of the most improved teams in America, Utmatia, and there was only 2 of them. So they bought in. They believed. God bless them. It was really cool. And then to go win another bowl game like that, it was pretty amazing, pretty special.
That's coaching.
Yep,
that's coaching.
So, Coach, as we let you go, what do you want to leave us and our listeners with? You know, this is your time when you make my job easy as the host of this. You know, you made my job easy today, and we loved having you on here. But
great.
You know, what would you leave us, the fans of Iowa State? You know, what would you leave us with today?
Well, I just say a couple of things. First of all, what a joy it was for all of us to be a part of Iowa State athletics and Iowa State University. It's an amazing place. I'm an Iowa City native. I grew up. I snuck into Iowa football games when I was 5 and 6 and 7 years old because all they had was snow fence up around the outside of it, and me and my little buddies would sneak in, and then we'd sit up on the hill. And then amazingly, after I got recruited by Johnny Majors and Jackie Sherrill, and I signed a conference letter of intent at Iowa State, I decided to stay home and was never part of – I gave everything I had at Iowa as a player and ended up captain my senior year, but never got to be a part of a winning season or a bowl game. And then I ended up, being I was the youngest coach that was retained by Coach Fry at the time, and the rest is history, what we accomplished there. Kirk Ferentz got hired after our first 2 years. He was 2 years younger than I was, but neither one of us really deserved the opportunity that we had to be offensive and defensive line coaches at our age and lack of experience. But my point is, after all those years in Iowa City and Iowa and what we accomplished up in Wisconsin, to come back and get a chance to be part of Iowa State, where I realized that outside expectations really have nothing to do with your daily lessons of unity, of pride, and of purpose. It really had nothing to do with it because the expectations were so bad. And what we needed to do, and you just see great examples of it through the years, you just had to try and discard and ignore any of the negative past and just try and bring a sense of dedication and a strength of your conviction and clarity of your vision and get everybody to buy it. What we tried to do, George, I just wanted anybody that touched our program to believe in what we were doing. Hold your head high, put your damn Iowa State Cyclone gear on, and wear it the right way you're supposed to, because the damn stuff was all turned inside out when I took the job. Nobody was wearing the damn stuff because they were embarrassed. There was no Iowa State football around the whole state of Iowa. I knew that was one of the things that we had to do to get that right. But I just tried to be the ray of hope every day. And you just, if you're going to be successful anywhere, but those lessons that we learned together at Iowa State, just having that stubborn insistence on pursuing your dreams and your goals, and don't listen to all the stuff on the outside, those things were pretty special. And it was so amazing to me. And I had so many highlights and so many hard times through my career, but I will always, till the day I'm done and right off into that final sunset, I'll always be proud of what we accomplished at Iowa State. I don't know if there's a better time in the history of Iowa State athletics than what's going on right now. We've already talked about Matt Campbell. TJ Otzenberger and I have been great friends since he was an assistant and I was still the head coach at Iowa State. He brought me to South Dakota State twice to talk to his teams. He brought me to Vegas and told me, listen, if you can come to South Dakota and freeze your butt off up here, and we're going to go have a steak and a cocktail where Frank Sinatra used to hang out. He brought me out there every year that he's taken the job. The 2 years that he's been there, he's brought me back to Ames. Billy Finley and I got hired at the same time. Incredible what he's accomplished. And then you just see throughout the Iowa State Athletic Department, it's just such a special place. But if you build those great relationships, if you have the incredible chemistry, if you have that build the family, which I think is really there at Iowa State, the magic can really happen. But I'm just really proud to get a chance to hang with you guys. I mean, when I said Iowa State royalty, I'm not trying to be a wise guy. That's what it really is, all three of you, and what you've done in your walks of life and your contributions and all those things. It's really been special for me. And I'll always be proud to be associated with you guys. I'll always be proud to be associated with Iowa State athletics.
Hey, we appreciate you, Coach. You know, we
Yes,
love
definitely.
we had you on there. We'll get you on here again in the fall because this was good. We had more questions and people were engaged, but we really appreciate you and the love for Iowa State and the love for your craft. Tell the fam and the wife hello. But have a good night out there, and man, we love you, man.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for everything. Cyclones.
All right,
good,
Coach.
Good to hear from you, Coach.
Proud of you guys. Take care.
You as well.
Right.
Easy.
Definitely a GOAT.
Yeah, I'm not gonna even ask no more questions that I had on my list. I'm like, we done. Like, we ain't gonna follow up that. So we gonna just tell y'all, hey, Brent. Ship. Do we have an ad for Brett Fred or no ad for Brett Fred? You just shake your head. Nope. Okay. So from the Betfred Sportsbook, but next episode we're gonna do in about 2 weeks or so. We're gonna talk about the EA NCAA football game and that $500.
Crazy.
Yep, that's what we're gonna talk about next time. We're gonna talk about Matt Campbell. Somebody asked a question, Justin asked a question about Matt Campbell at Iowa State for the foreseeable future, and we'll touch on that. And then I'll text Mac and ask him about the Cyclone tailgate in 2005. He probably do remember he was drinking his Grey Goose on the rock. So, he but next episode we're gonna talk about those couple things, and whatever other questions you have, put it on the Facebook, on the Twitter, on the Instagram, on the YouTube, whatever. Just get those questions out. I put my number out there. You could text me questions. Make sure you leave your name if I don't got your number in there. But we appreciate y'all jumping on. We appreciate Matt jumping on. Lindsay texted me she couldn't jump on. She was golfing. So she was out there golfing, enjoying her time and the weather out there in Iowa. So we'll get her on the next time. Justin, thank you too. But from Betfred Sportsbook, Brown Dogs Farm, Revelton, Side of Storm, Three Beers Media, Hot Mess Happy Hour, Curveball, Coaches Kolaches. Hey, so at the event, don't forget Coaches Kolaches. Do I say it right? Kolaches or Kolaches?
Yeah, Kolaches. It don't matter what you call them as long as you call them good.
As long as you call them, as long as you come get them.
They make it for the golf event. And speaking to everybody on here, if you're not golfing in a golf event and you just want to come out, I don't know if your kids have never ever got to meet Cy, but Cy will be there from 8 to 10. So come let the kids get a picture with them. You ain't got to pay for it. Ain't no cost for it. Just bring the kids. It's a Friday. School's out. Friday before Father's Day. Next Friday. Bring them out. Let them get to see Cy because they may not get to see him at games, and they may be one of the things that make their day. But yeah, bring them out there. And everybody's welcome. Come on through and just hang out for a little bit. But next Friday is that event. October 7th is the Jack Trice 100 game. We will be having a tailgate. I'm trying to still get in touch with Nike to make them shoes. Working on some things right there. But everybody was loving them shoes, so I'm working on some things right there. Y'all get the first pair out here. Y'all get the first pair.
Listen, sign me up. I'm all for it.
People
my son, he was like,
"Oh, people like just take my money." Like
I'm telling you, the card is ready. You just tell me when.
Yeah, so we're trying to work on some things for the foundation. So make sure to follow all of us in what we're doing. Hunger Loaves, the businessman Curveball. We got that on there. We're gonna get some shirts. Hey, we need shirts that just say Curveball on it. And then we'll holler at y'all. This was a great episode. I mean, just having Coach on here, listening to him, letting him talk and letting him take over. I knew he was gonna take over when he got on. So
let him do it. Let him do it.
That's
man.
Brent will wear the shirt on Saturday morning.
Ship comes in. First off,
Ship, get on the camera, Ship.
Hold on. Ship comes in 2 times on a Saturday morning when I am not there. The last Saturday, I had just left, and he's like, "Oh, I just missed you." Like, I was there, okay? Nobody.
You own the place. How are you not there?
Listen, I was there at 4 o'clock. Nobody was know what Rick Ross said? They wasn't with me shooting in the gym. I hope they get into it to make sure y'all had what you needed. You know what I'm saying? And I need to get out.
I just come over every Saturday morning and see the tailgate truck that I missed out on.
That's it. It's out there just so everybody knows what a shop is, baby.
That's got to bring it up to the October 7th game.
Hey, I will. Now you say it, I'll bring it out.
Let's do it. But good episode. You know, we signing off on here. We had a good live episode. Listen to us. You know, it's recorded so you can listen to us wherever you listen to your podcast, on Spotify, on Anchor, on Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to. We enjoy it. We hope y'all enjoy it. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know what you want to know about, and we'll bring that up. So, Side of Storm signing off. Let's go.